Hi, folks. Welcome to this very special edition of Power to the Pricing People. My name is Chris Dieringer, and I'm our Chief Revenue and Customer Officer here at Flintfox. And today I'm joined by Matt Petersen, a global black belt of wholesale distribution at Microsoft. Matt spent over 25 years working alongside wholesale distribution industry, and he's seen it all. We're here to dive into some very key issues impacting wholesale distribution, and that's everything from digital transformation to tackling different inflationary fluctuations or different components that we see out there in the market today. So Matt, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Glad to be here.
Yeah, good. What significant challenges, changes, or just industry trends are you seeing today in the wholesale distribution market?
So I tell you, Chris, I have been with Microsoft focusing on wholesale distribution for about 10 years now, and I've never seen interest in digital transformation and business applications like I'm seeing today. I am so busy. I'm working with over a dozen companies right now, and what I see as a trend across all of them is, number one, many of these companies have a growth by acquisition strategy, and they want to put together, they want to try and figure out a way that they can run their business that's made up of heterogeneous application landscape. When I'm working with one company that we're working with you that is acquiring 8, 10, 12 companies a year. And with each one of these acquisitions comes another ERP. Sometimes it's one of the ERPs they already have. Sometimes it's a new one. But they need to have an overall control over their business, from inventory visibility to pricing to sales, whatever it might be. So that's one thing I'm seeing is companies are struggling with this ability to manage this heterogeneous ERP landscape. And it's not just ERP. I see it with CRM as well.
Sure. Yeah, I know. Great points, Matt. I was just over at the National Association of Wholesalers Large Company Roundtables. The number one thing they mentioned was digital transformation. And part of digital transformation, they talked about ERPs, ERP upgrades, ERP migrations, and a lot of that through acquisitions that they might have done out in the market. As you stated, we've noticed a trend in that market consolidation. Many of the distributors are expanding through that acquisition today, and that's led to managing multiple components of this. One of our largest customers is in the wholesale distribution business in the electrical distribution area, and same thing, like they have a digital transformation project where we are the central pricing hub across 28 different ERPs to execute across their entire global landscape. So we're definitely seeing that. It's a great point.
Yeah, I think that's exciting. I'm really encouraged by Flintfox's ability to help solve that problem, to give a central pricing engine across multiple ERPs.
Good, yeah. We're excited to partner. Now, speaking of that partnership, word on the street is Microsoft is beginning to enhance its base pricing functionality out of D365. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so in the present, we have two different ways that we think about pricing. We've got pricing in our finance and supply chain module, and we've got a separate pricing engine in our commerce module. And we realize that that's not the path going forward. So we're doing work to combine what we'll say is the best of both worlds from those two pricing engines. And at some undetermined point in the future, we're going to just have one pricing engine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's important, and it's important to note how Microsoft is looking at that approach in ways that your ERP definitely stands up against the competition or other ones out there today.
Yeah, it's a challenge, Chris. When we implement with our customers, they have to make a decision depending on what channels they go to market, depending on what their sales look like. Are they going to use the supply chain sales transactions? They can use commerce sales transactions, and there's different functionality that goes with each of those pricing engines. So we're trying to remove that level of uncertainty, and that's a decision that companies shouldn't have to make.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, you talk about this businesses that are definitely stepping up their game by adopting these more advanced and intricate pricing strategies. And you're right. When it comes to executing those, it's complex, and that's where we hope the partnership for ours really starts to shine. If we dive a bit deeper into the pricing technology landscape, as you talk about, my understanding is that the pricing management solution focuses on sell-side attribute-based pricing with Dynamics 365 customers and commerce, correct?
Yeah, we do a little bit in the area of buy side and sell side, but really it's mostly focused around, retail type of transaction, retail and manufacturing type of transactions, which is why we lean on partners like Flintfox, who understand the wholesale distribution pricing model is different than retail and manufacturing for sure.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, as we mention it within wholesale distribution, what's really important about it is we call what's called buy side and sell side. So not to mention just the complexities that wholesale distribution has around customer, product, transitions of attributes across all these channels. Really being able to look at how they do the pricing components with their suppliers is equally as important to then how they honor and go through those trade agreements with their customers, and making sure that they have the right price at the right location for their needs. Mm-hmm. As you know, Microsoft Flintfox, we've worked together through countless ERPs, pricing implementations, especially when it comes to this industry. So supercharging pricing capabilities in D365, along with rebates, claims, and deduction management, super important. Can you kind of give me an idea of the timing? When is Microsoft looking to release this?
Yeah, so right now it's in private preview, and we haven't given a date as to when it's going to be in public preview or general availability. We're still working on understanding requirements from our customers and trying to figure out what the final product is going to look like.
Got it. So from reading the last guidance within Microsoft, while things are in private preview, it's not necessarily recommended to go to production for that.
We wouldn't recommend going into production in a private preview state. Got it.
So great to know. Thanks for sharing kind of the timing and the approach that Microsoft has from that area. What if we kind of continue to look down this track, what are some of the key needs wholesale and distributors and even manufacturers have for pricing?
Well, one of the things that all ERPs struggle with is this concept of high volume pricing. As you move into e-commerce channel, or even the generation of price lists.
Yeah.
So you've got, as you know, Chris, you've got these complex prices that have to be determined for each material, for each customer, for each time frame. And it's a big calculation that has to happen for each one. And if you want to create a price list for your customer and send it out, that's millions of calculations you have to do. And we've seen that across the landscape of ERPs, wholesale distributors really struggle with the ability to generate a day's worth of price lists in a day.
Yeah,
and
massive.
They fall 10 minutes behind the first day, 20 minutes behind the second day. Next thing you know, they've skipped a month. So that's an area that's really a pain point. How can you generate price lists that calculate millions of prices for all your customers and then create a price list and send them out for all the products for all the customers? That's one real pain point. Another pain point is when you're talking about e-commerce channel, you can have hundreds and thousands of customers hitting your pricing engine at the same time, and you need millisecond response times. I've heard stories about how some of our wholesale distribution customers will have their customers sitting with 3 screens, one from each supplier, just pushing the button, waiting to get the next 1/10 of a cent on a better price. And they've got to be able to respond. If their customer is pushing the button and waiting for 3 seconds to get a price back, they're not going to win that business. So instantaneous price response from your e-commerce site is critical in wholesale distribution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were talking about this a little earlier, and I'm so glad you brought up those stories and examples. Just scale, right? Like I think you mentioned, wholesale distribution is an $8.2 trillion industry right now.
People don't realize it. It's 25% of the workforce in the United States is employed by wholesale distribution. 25%.
Massive, right? From frontline workers in their distribution centers all the way through to their sales teams and corporate. Yeah, you're right, massive. And the pricing needs, I'm glad you touched on that. The needs for fast, multiple different complexities across all these different trade agreements from supplier to customer, huge. And the great thing I like about our partnership, or what Microsoft has seen the value with us to partner together, is, Flintfox, we're the fastest engine on the planet, right? From a scale side, we have at least 90 different companies on our buy, sell side, advanced pricing, and hyper accelerated pricing engine. On top of that, the consultants we have in place that help with our IP implementation have been doing this for years. Rarely does somebody come out of college with a pricing degree, right? We see people have fallen into this through supply chain, maybe from sales or finance or accounting. Our team of consultants focus solely on our IP implementation has been doing this for decades. And that's where we really rely on, MCS, yourself, other SIs to help do that D365 implementation. And we come and help with that IP side of the house. And I think finally, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's great to know when you talk about pricing. Of course, there's pricing strategy and then there's pricing execution.
Right.
When my customers approach me with concerns about our ability to handle high volume pricing execution, it's great to know that I have no concerns about Flintfox's ability to scale, not only because of the architecture and the in-memory way that it's built, but then because of Azure and its ability to scale across as well. Mm-hmm. So I've seen customers that have challenges in that area, and it's nice to know that Flintfox can help them overcome that.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love that you brought that up. Yeah, we definitely prefer our hosted preferred approach is Azure for where we sit from our IP perspective, and then we plug for our engine, and we plug directly into D365 today. And with that, we're not necessarily, we don't have the rigors around a SaaS-based environment where you get what you get and that's what it looks like. We can customize our tool specifically to the unique needs of every wholesale distributor out there, which almost feels like a snowflake every time we go and work with them again.
Chris, it's my understanding that you guys have put together an analysis of the differences and similarities between the new Microsoft pricing engine and the Flintfox pricing engine on a feature by feature comparison. Would you be able to share that slide with our viewers here today?
Yeah, Matt, great point. We've spent a lot of time with the Microsoft engineering organization, looking at their roadmap, understanding what you and your teams are looking to build, and we've been complementing the offering that you plan to release with our solution. For a double click on that, you're absolutely right. Let's show that up on the screen.
Yeah, right, I know there's some uncertainty out in the marketplace as to what does Flintfox do, what does Microsoft do, what's the best choice for me. So I really appreciate you putting together that side-by-side comparison.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to. We're all in the same ecosystem and want what's best for our customers. I think, Matt, that's great. I think we've been partnering together for some time, Matt. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. Thanks so much for being here as part of Power to the Pricing People in our series that we have with Flintfox. Great to have you along. If anyone would like to learn more about Flintfox for D365, check out our latest blog, which provides all of the feature comparisons between Flintfox and Microsoft's price management tool today. But for now, as Kath would say, power to you pricing people. Thanks, everybody.